Welcome, everyone. It's so good to have you here for episode 3 of our Learn English with Podcast conversations. I hope you're all ready for another fun and engaging session. Today, we're going to dive into some interesting topics, ask some questions, and share a few funny stories to keep things lively. So, let's get started. First of all, how are you all doing today? I hope you're feeling great and ready to learn. Remember, learning English should be fun and exciting, not just about grammar and vocabulary. So, let's make it enjoyable. Have you ever had one of those days where everything just goes wrong? Let me tell you about a day I had last week. It started when I woke up late because my alarm clock didn't go off. I rushed out of bed, got dressed in a hurry, and guess what? I put on mismatched shoes. I didn't even realize until I was halfway to work. Can you imagine walking around with one sneaker and one dress shoe? I must have looked so silly. But that's not all. On my way to work, I stopped to grab a coffee. As I was walking out of the cafe, I bumped into someone and spilled my coffee all over my shirt. It was one of those moments where you just have to laugh, right? What about you? Have you ever had a day like that? Feel free to share your funny stories with me. Speaking of funny stories, do you know what happened to my friend Sarah last month? She decided to try cooking a fancy dinner for her family. She followed the recipe to the letter, but somehow, she mixed up the salt and sugar. Instead of a delicious meal, she ended up with the saltiest cake you can imagine. Her family took one bite and their faces were priceless. They all burst out laughing. Sometimes, mistakes make the best memories, don't you think? Let's switch gears a bit. Have you ever thought about what you would do if you won the lottery? It's a fun thing to imagine. If I won the lottery, I think I would travel the world. There are so many amazing places to see and so many cultures to experience. Where would you go if you could travel anywhere? Maybe you'd visit Paris to see the Eiffel Tower, or perhaps you'd prefer the beaches of Hawaii. Speaking of travel, let me tell you about my trip to Japan. It was such an incredible experience. The food, the culture, the people, everything was wonderful. But there was one funny incident I'll never forget. I tried to speak a little Japanese to order my food, but instead of saying, "Thank you, arigato," I accidentally said, "Toilet otirai." The waiter gave me the funniest look and pointed me to the restroom. We both had a good laugh when I realized my mistake. It's moments like these that make travel so memorable. Alright, let's get interactive. Imagine you're on a deserted island. What 3 things would you want to have with you? For me, I think I'd want a good book to read, a hammock to relax in, and maybe a lifetime supply of chocolate. How about you? Think about it and let me know. Let's play a little game. I'm going to describe an object, and you try to guess what it is. Ready? Here we go. It's something you can find in almost every home. It has keys but isn't a door, and you can use it to write without a pen. What is it? Did you guess a keyboard? If so, well done. Now, let's talk about something different. Do you like animals? I love animals, especially dogs. I have a funny story about my dog, Max. One day, I took Max to the park. He was so excited that he started running around in circles. Suddenly, he spotted a squirrel and took off after it. He chased that squirrel up a tree and then just sat there, barking at it. The squirrel looked down at Max like, "What are you going to do now?" It was hilarious. Do you have any pets? What funny things do they do? Let's take a moment to talk about hobbies. Hobbies are a great way to relax and have fun. My favorite hobby is painting. I love to paint landscapes, especially scenes with mountains and lakes. It's so peaceful. What about you? Do you have any hobbies? Maybe you like to read, or perhaps you enjoy cooking. Whatever your hobby is, it's important to make time for it. Here's a quick tip for learning English. Try to practice a little bit every day. Even if it's just for 10 minutes. Consistency is key. You can read a short article, watch a video, or even listen to music in English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the better you'll get. Let's talk about food for a moment. I love trying new foods from different cultures. One of my favorite dishes is sushi. It's so fresh and delicious. Have you ever tried sushi? What's your favorite food? I also love Italian food. There's nothing like a good plate of pasta with a rich tomato sauce. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Do you like to play sports? Sports are a great way to stay active and healthy. My favorite sport is soccer. It's so much fun to play, and it's a great way to meet new people. What about you? Do you have a favorite sport? Maybe you like basketball or swimming. Whatever sport you enjoy, it's important to stay active. Now, let's talk about movies. Do you like watching movies? I love a good comedy. There's nothing better than a movie that makes you laugh until your stomach hurts. One of my favorite comedies is The Mask with Jim Carrey. It's so funny. What's your favorite movie? Do you prefer comedies, action movies, or maybe something else? Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a little bit of inspiration. Learning a new language can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Remember, every time you make a mistake, you're one step closer to mastering English. So, don't be afraid to speak, to write, and to make those mistakes. They are all part of the learning journey. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Keep practicing, keep laughing, and most importantly, keep enjoying the process. I can't wait to chat with you all again in our next episode. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring the wonderful world of English. Goodbye.